everybody, it's Trags, and it's Wednesday, September 19th, time for episode 263 of Patriots Beat on the CLNS Media Network. Find us at clnsmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter at CLNS Media. Of course, follow all of our Patriots coverage, especially at Patriots CLNS. This week, I welcome Lions reporter Kyle Meinke of MLive. You should be following his great NFL and Lions and Matt Patricia coverage this week on Twitter at KMEINKE. I'll repeat it, KMEINKE. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us.
Tregs, it is good to be here, my friend.
I knew when Matt Patricia was asking reporters in the preseason, Kyle, if they really enjoyed their job. I rolled my eyes and I said, this is going to be a rough takeoff in Motown. What has it been like to cover Matty P?
It's been a weird ride. I started covering him. I had some interactions previously with him. Really started covering him at the Super Bowl week when it became obvious that the Lions would be hiring him whenever that game ended. And he was very friendly. I mean, I found him to be. If I had been warned, he would say a lot. When it came to, he didn't say a lot, but I found him to be very engaging. And then he was great at his intro presser in Detroit. I had him for a one-on-one that night after he was introduced in Detroit, and he was fabulous. I mean, it was a great interview. I had been prepared for a Belichick clone or something based on what people had said about him, and it was a great one-on-one. We had a nice chat, football-wise, elsewise, on and off the record. It was a good deal. I think he was the same way with a lot of guys, and then the allegations came out, of the sexual assault from the 90s.
Right.
And since then, man, he's been. I'm not sure if it was that or if it was going to happen this way anyway, but he's really shut down. He's in football mode now, and it's been far less fun in games and more football on the field, less talking in the press conferences, and here we are.
Well, and I figured that knowing Matt and having covered him here in New England, that when he got his own gig, he would be his own guy, and kind of like you saw at the Super Bowl. I figured some more of his personality would come out because he wanted to show people that he wasn't just a Belichick clone, that he was a smart guy, he worked hard, and could get it all done. Take care of the whole process, if you will, as a head coach, as opposed to just handling the defense. I just thought his personality would come out, but sometimes when things like that happen, the event, the news of that sexual assault charge, which he, by the way, as I think everybody knows, categorically denies and added he was falsely accused of. Right. That can just change the tint and the whole perspective of your job.
Sure, and when it comes to his public-facing persona and everything, a rough training camp didn't help. A rough preseason really didn't help, and now we're here at 0-2. It's not like he's on a hot seat or anything, but it's stuff's gone haywire in Detroit, and there's a lot of big questions being asked. Of course, there's reports out there, many of which I've confirmed, about player disgruntlement when it comes to the way practices are run, the way the schedule is given out, and so forth. And so, questions like that, of course, have had him down too. The honeymoon phase is already well over, heading into week 3. I'll put it that way.
So, what was the dynamic like when he was hired and GM Bob Quinn, obviously formerly with the Patriots, and certainly somebody that Bill Belichick speaks very glowingly of. What was the dynamic like when Quinn was extended by Rodney Wood and Matt Patricia was hired? How did that all come down, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think Martha Ford, the owner of the Lions, is real pleased with the direction of the program. And obviously, back-to-back 9-win seasons is not what you want. But it's the Detroit Lions we're talking about. They're not exactly a winning team. I mean, Caldwell, for all of his faults, was still the winningest coach of the Super Bowl era for the Lions. So there was, there were some people who thought that maybe Caldwell should be retained. Quinn made the decision to fire him, which I think that was the right move. I don't think Caldwell was going to be the guy to take you to that next plateau, and that Bob Quinn said as much. upon Caldwell's exit and Patricia's hire. I think that with Quinn getting extended, and then of course Matt Patricia coming in, his guy from New England, those guys are now joined at the hip, and I think Bob Quinn's done a lot of good things when it comes to building the roster, but there are, I think, some holes being shown as well. And I'll put it this way to you: you don't fire the winningest coach in your program's history to take a step back. And Quinn said as much when making the move. He said 9-7 was no longer good enough. Obviously this is not a rebuild. You got Matthew Stafford, you got a pretty veteran team, a lot of talent in place, and a team that had 3 winning seasons in 4 years. Now you're 0-2, and they have not looked good in either of those games. They didn't look good at all in the preseason. And those are the questions now being asked in Detroit, is exactly where this team is at, because I think a lot of people were caught off guard by just how bad they've looked so early under Matt Patricia.
Hey everybody, I want to tell you about a great wagering service. It's called BetDSI.com. BetDSI.com has been paying winners for 20 years. Use your sports knowledge to make some extra cash. Go online or to their easy-to-use mobile app. They have the fastest payouts in the industry. Play, win, get paid. BetDSI offers betting options for everything. Bet on football and other major sports. Bet on reality TV, esports, virtually everything. Try live betting at BetDSI, where you can bet on every play, every drive, and every score until the final whistle blows. Use promo code Patriots18, and first-time deposits get a 100% bonus match on your money up to $500. That's right. Once again, use promo code Patriots18, and first-time deposits get a 100% bonus match on your money up to $500. It's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI. Okay, let me play devil's advocate, if you want to take it this way. Shouldn't they have known that with any new coach, I don't care how talented the team is, when you implement a new system, there is going to be a rough transition period. It's very rare that a first-year coach comes in and takes a team immediately to a Super Bowl. There have been instances, I guess Mike Tomlin might be one in Pittsburgh, but it doesn't happen very often.
Right, and I agree with you. The counterpoint in Detroit would be that he was taking over a veteran team with a franchise quarterback, which you don't often see. It doesn't always happen in these coaching changes. I think if you look at the quarterback situations of the head coaching vacancies this year, I think Detroit maybe had the best run of it there. And then they basically left the offense untouched, and they had the offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter back in a scheme that Matthew Stafford very much likes and has played well in for the past 2 or 3 years under Cooter. He had all 4 of his top receivers back. 4 of the 5 linemen were back, and the one guy who's not back wasn't very good. They replaced him with a first-round pick and Travis Swanson. There's just a lot of talent on that side of the ball, and I think that there's been a disappointment that it's been as bad as it's been. Those guys were terrible in week 1, very slow starting in week 2. Didn't really get it in gear until the game was, it's a 17-point game in the third quarter. Defensively, I think that was viewed as more of a project. It might take a little bit more time. And I am pleased with the direction. I know they gave up 30 points last week, but I thought getting 6 sacks from linebackers was really encouraging, and maybe a sign that the scheme is taking some root. But this team was a 9-win team, and they've looked like a team lucky to win 4 games this year through both the preseason and the first 2 weeks.
All right, I don't know if you've heard, but Josh Gordon is with the New England Patriots, Kyle.
Yeah, word on the street.
And even though the Patriots didn't really want to come around and confirm it, it was actually very bizarre, Kyle. I don't know if you're aware that both the Browns and Patriots announced the deal, announced the transaction, and Bill Belichick, Monday evening and even on his Tuesday morning conference call, something I was on, I asked Bill, I said, "Are you ready to talk about Josh Gordon?" And he said, "Nope, Mike, still waiting to see what his position is on the roster." Just bizarre. And I guess the long-winded way I'm getting around is a lot of people here in New England thought they targeted 2 receivers on Detroit that you know how fans are, Kyle. They're like, boy, the Lions will be ready to give up on Golden Tate or Marvin Jones. Was that
Yeah.
even? Do you think that possibility even existed?
Giving up on either of those guys, no. But I will say there are long-term concerns at the position. Golden Tate's been very good for Detroit, at least 90 catches in each of his first 4 years in Detroit. I think he's making like $5 or $6 million a year. The value of that contract's been unbelievable. But he's in a contract year now, and certainly looking to get paid. And I'm not sure. And you know the Patriot way. I mean, you save money where you can, particularly in the skill positions. And he's been a fabulous player, but his market value might be beyond what the Lions are willing to pay. So there are some concerns with Golden Tate, whether he'll be back next year. There were some negotiations about a long-term extension in the offseason. I don't think those got very far. So I mean, that the case could be made that Josh Gordon would maybe help solidify your long-term continuation at that position. But I don't know if Josh Gordon's a guy you can really count on for the long term either, given his problem. He's a talented guy. I know some of the Browns reporters in Cleveland there, and I mean they're real high on the ability. And we've seen it before with the Randy Mosses of the world and so forth in New England, where guys have been able to, the bad boys have been able to resurrect their careers or get their affairs in order. And I'm very curious to see if Josh Gordon can do the same.
Golden Tate or Marvin Jones never recorded a promotional video at 10 o'clock Friday night, 36 hours before they were due in New Orleans. Did they?
Not to my knowledge. Those guys are great pros, man. They're top notch. Gordon's a great talent. And I will say, while we're on the topic of Josh Gordon, I'm curious to see if he plays, because the Lions' pass defense has been fine. That has not been the weakness of the defense. But Darius Slay, their top corner, All-Pro last year, led the NFL in interceptions. He's banged up right now. Suffered a concussion in the third quarter of last week's game, and there's been no word on his status. And his replacement would be Teez Tabor, a second-round pick from last year, who has really struggled to crack the rotation. Actually, just made his first career start last week. Tregs, and he was terrible. I mean, he was absolutely dreadful on the field. So if he does play against Tom Brady and everyone else out there, including a possibility of Josh Gordon, I think that could be a real problem.
With over 8 million users across the U.S. and Canada, Game Time is the top destination for last-minute tickets to all major sporting events, concerts, and shows. Unlike Ticketmaster and StubHub, who overwhelm you with so many choices and steps, the Game Time app shows you only the best values and makes buying tickets incredibly fast and easy. Game Time is without question the top destination for last-minute tickets to live events. To make selecting tickets even easier, Game Time shows you an actual high-res photo of the view from your very own seat. Plus, the Game Time guarantee also has you covered. They'll guarantee you'll receive your tickets in time for the event, and they'll be valid for entry. If for some reason that doesn't happen, Game Time will locate comparable replacement tickets or give you a 100% refund. Whether you're looking for sports, music, or theater tickets, you can find all of them under one roof at Game Time. Game Time sells tickets for all major venues across the U.S. and Canada. Download the app for iOS or Android. Hey, and did you know that ticket prices can go down right before a game or concert? Game Time is a mobile app that tracks ticket prices in real time from thousands of trusted sellers, then shows you all the best deals. When prices drop, you can check out in 2 taps, and tickets are sent directly to your phone. For $15 off your first purchase, visit usegametime.com/beat and use the promo code BEAT. Again, for $15 off your first purchase, visit usegametime.com/BEAT and use the promo code BEAT. Speaking with outstanding Lions and NFL reporter for MLive, Kyle Meinke. Kyle, here's what I think about this week. It's a very strange dynamic, and we've seen it many, many times before. Coach against pupil, and Matt Patricia is the pupil in this case. But I think the Lions, given what happened on that Monday night fiasco against the Jets, in a game that actually was 17-17 in the third quarter, right? And they completely had a meltdown. If the Lions fall behind by 10 or 14 points early, the Boo Birds at Ford Field are going to be out in force, and it is going to be ugly, right? It is going to be another national TV game for the Lions, only this time on NBC, and the whole world will see the Lions being, embarrassed again. And that, to me, that's what the Patriots want to do in this game early.
I completely agree with you. I will tell you, I mean, it's been since 1958. That's a long time ago. 1958, the Lions have won one playoff game. I think people know that they haven't made a Super Bowl and all that stuff. But I don't even think that begins to tell you how bad they've been for how long they've been. The one playoff win, and it's been like 25, 30 years now since even that one playoff win. Fans are restless, and rightfully so. They're aggravated, they're annoyed because they feel like every couple of years there's a regime change, and they're sold on promise and hope, and their hope is always crushed into 1,000 little pieces. I think that's happening now with Matt Patricia. I think he's a really smart guy. It's really early. The culture change he's bringing to Detroit is dramatic, so it does take time. It's just fans are fed up and they don't want to give that time. And we saw that in the Lions were booed in the preseason at Ford Field. That's bad. That blew my mind. And then even in the opener, I mean, they deserved to be booed. But even before that game got silly in the third quarter, even in the first quarter of the season opener on Monday Night Football of a new regime, they were getting booed. And so, yeah, if this game gets out of control, I mean, even if the Patriots go out there and score 7 points on the first drive, even that wouldn't surprise me if the Lions got booed. There's just not a lot of patience right now in Detroit, and I think there's talent on this team, but they're in a tough place right now, and I think spirits are being tested. And if the Lions do face an early deficit, I would not be surprised one bit to see this game get ugly.
Oh, and I'm sure the Patriots are. Look, the Patriots will never say this publicly, but I'm sure the message in the meeting rooms, if not Belichick himself, when he talks on Wednesday morning to the team, is like, look, we have a chance to get on these guys early. Let's do it. And I'm sure that's a priority. But beyond that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's a stat. I mean, maybe this is a known thing in New England, but I saw it out there this week in Detroit and tossed around a little bit. Obviously, the Patriots lost by double digits last week to the Jaguars. In the last 18 games, the Patriots have lost by double digits. They're 17-1, and not just are they 17-1, but they've won those games by an average of 15 points. That's astounding to me. I mean, the ability to come back from tough losses and just step on the throat of your opponent is impressive. And I suspect I would not be surprised, Mike, to see that happen this week. The Lions are just really struggling right now.
Hey, everybody, I want to tell you about a great product I use at the end of a long day of Patriots coverage. It relaxes my back and feet and just puts my mind at ease. What is it called? It's called Calm Balm. The Calm Balm is a patented cannabidiol bath bomb that, through a proprietary formula, will allow the CBD to be better absorbed by the skin, offering maximum relief to people with chronic pain and anxiety. Again, I use it at the end of a long day of Patriots game coverage, and it relaxes my back and my feet and puts my mind at ease. The bath bombs featured at Calm Balm allow you to care for yourself while supporting others. Though self-care is often seen as a luxury that best benefits you, in this case, you are truly helping others, with $5 from each box going directly to families in need. And now, for a limited time, my listeners can get Calm Balms at a huge discount by going to the website www.buybombshelpmoms.com. Once again, the website www.buybombshelpmoms.com and click on their Indiegogo page. What about LeGarrette Blount? I mean, he's somebody that is thought very fondly of here in New England, but I don't know if you saw the America's team, 2017 Eagles, beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl meant something to LeGarrette Blount. Has he talked about that at all with you guys? And what do you know about LeGarrette, and what's he been like to cover in Detroit?
Yeah, he's been reticent to talk about his days with other teams. But he's been a great professional since coming to Detroit. I know he's brought that the Lions' running game has been awful. They were last in the league last year. They were last in the league in 2015 as well. I mean, they haven't finished in the top 10 in rushing in the league since Barry Sanders was still running for him.
Oh.
So that tells you anything. 1998. It's been a really long misadventure in the running game for Detroit. Blunt has brought an air of professionalism to that room. I talked to Doug Peterson earlier this offseason, and he was like, listen, he just wasn't in the cards for us salary cap-wise, but he's still got something in the tank. And I mean, based on what we saw throughout training camp and now through 2 games, there's definitely promise there. I think he's, even at 31, 32 years old, still very effective. The numbers won't necessarily show it. He suffered a shoulder injury in week 1 that held him to 4 carries and was ejected last week for a boneheaded play coming off the bench to knock a guy to the ground last week after 8 carries. But when he's been out there, he's been good, Mike, and he's been able to. The thing about running in Detroit is that you got to be able to maneuver in small spaces because the lanes are just not going to be there. You're not playing in New England anymore, and he's been able to do that. He's been very, to my eye, very impressive. I think the Lions as a whole are rushing the ball much better this year. They're 13th in yards per carry, and again, Blunt's production is limited because of what's happened in the first 2 weeks, but his overall impact has been, I think, has been sizable in Detroit.
So I got to ask you, what's happened to Amir Abdullah?
I mean, he was Blunt 3 years ago, right? I mean, they drafted him instead of signing him, but he was supposed to be the guy that turned around their fortunes in the running game. He's athletic. He can catch the football. I mean, he's still athletic, but I mean, he just wasn't good. And again, it's not all on him. I mean, I've covered the team since 2013, so I've seen every single snap that Amir Abdullah has taken in Detroit, and he is definitely not the biggest part of the problem in the running game. But he has been part of the problem, and I think he just got snowed under a little bit from just so many hits and missed opportunities and some injuries earlier in his career, some ball security stuff that he went through. It's just one thing after another, and they gave him one more chance as a starter last year, even after he was not very effective in 2016, and he came on in 2017. And he was just one of the worst running backs in the league. I mean, he struggled to break tackles. He struggled to see holes, and he was eventually benched in December. He's still on the team, but he's the 4th guy. He has not been active yet, and barring injury, I don't expect him to be active for Detroit.
And I'm going to wrap it up here, Kyle. Speaking with Kyle Meinke of MLive, covering the Detroit Lions. Kyle, how bad does Matt Patricia want this game?
I'm not in his head, so I'm not sure about want, but I know he needs it badly. And he's a smart guy, right? I mean, I cannot imagine his start in Detroit going worse, from the losses to the thing. I mean, veteran players already talking about their disgruntlement with some of the things that he's done and the way he's handled his business in Detroit. I mean, I was not expecting that, right? When he comes from a pretty disciplined program, obviously, and things have gone real bad for him. Even the training camp was real difficult. Obviously, winning. I mean, I don't think it'll happen, but winning on Sunday night against your old boss, the reigning Super Bowl team. I mean, doing it in front of your hometown fans who are really pissed at this point about how things have gone under Matt Patricia. That would be. I mean, the impact of such a win would be enormous for sure. It's gone so poorly. I can't. It's so surprising because he's such a smart guy and comes from where he comes from. It's just, I think, caught a lot of people off guard with how bad it's been.
Whole food protein bars with simple, real ingredients? Of course I'm talking about RX Bar. RX Bar wants to build things the right way. RX Bar believes in the power of transparency and lets the core ingredients do all of the talking, with all of them listed on the front of the packaging. You'd likely recognize RX Bar at the shelf. They're the ones who have egg whites for protein, dates to bind, nuts for texture, and other delicious ingredients like unsweetened chocolate, real fruit and spices like sea salt or cinnamon. Turns out real food ingredients actually taste really good. Whether you like sweet or savory, chocolate or fruit flavors, there's definitely an RX Bar for you. As for me, I absolutely, positively have to have the mint chocolate protein bar before I go out and cover a night game, well, like this Sunday in Detroit. I'll have a couple of protein bars from RX Bar, the mint chocolate bar flavor. They have great flavor, no aftertaste, and again, a great boost for a PM workout or like me on Sunday night with the Patriots and Lions if you're staying up late. For 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/trags and enter the promo code TRAGS, TRAGS, at checkout. Once again, for 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/trags and enter the promo code TRAGS at checkout. Hey everybody, I want to tell you about a sensational line of clothing. It's called Mack Weldon. Mack Weldon is better than whatever you're wearing right now. Mack Weldon is a premium men's essential brand that believes in smart design and premium fabrics. Mack Weldon will be the most comfortable underwear, socks, shirts, undershirts, and hoodies, and even sweatpants that you'll ever wear. They want you to be comfortable, so if you don't like your first pair, you can keep it, and they will still refund you, no questions asked. About me, well, I just bought 3 shirts and 2 pairs of socks from Mack Weldon. Love it. I'm outside, especially as we see fall coming up. I'm starting to get the yard ready, and these shirts are perfect to wear outdoors. Short sleeve shirts while it's still warm, but a nice pair of socks to keep me dry and keep my shoes and boots and whatever else is on my feet dry as I'm stepping in the mud and cleaning up the yard. Go to MackWeldon.com. Trust me on this. Visit MackWeldon.com, enter the promo code PB at checkout for 20% off your first order. Well, Josh McDaniels on his conference call on Tuesday said, quote, it's going to be a fun challenge. I'm glad we're not putting on the pads and the helmet, thank God, but it's going to be a fun challenge. And you remember, maybe you do or maybe you don't, Kyle, that it was Josh McDaniels who beat Bill Belichick in overtime in 2009 as part of that 6-0 Broncos start before the wheels came off for McDaniels. But it has been done, and I'm fascinated to see how Patricia and McDaniels match up, not so much Patricia and Belichick.
Yeah, I am too. The familiarity is there. They know each other better than anyone does, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see them match wits and so forth. I mean, the Lions defense has Patricia's fingerprints all over it. It's definitely not a finished product, but you can see it taking shape a little bit. I'm real curious to see how McDaniels tries to attack it because he obviously knows what Patricia's trying to do. And I'm curious to see how Patricia tries to counter, particularly if Darius Slay can't play. Darius Slay is probably their best defensive player these days. Very good player. The secondary is pretty good. And I think not having him, having to play Tease Tabor, who again was dreadful last week, I think there'd be plenty of opportunities for Josh McDaniels to go after it.
And I'll wrap it up here. Do you think they have somebody to cover Rob Gronkowski?
No. And I was thinking about that today. I don't know who it's going to be. Their slot guy's pretty good, Jamal Agnew, but he's just a little guy. Their linebackers are getting better. That was probably the worst position group before Patricia came in. They did a lot of work at it this year. They brought in a couple of guys who can get after the passer. I just don't think they have any pass covering linebackers that are any good. I mean, Jared Davis is out there sometimes in that role. He was a first-round pick just last year, but he's been a real disappointment. And seeing Gronkowski being covered by Jared Davis, Tom Brady's eyes are going to pop out of his head if he gets that matchup. One other guy to look for is Miles Killebrew. He's a safety. He doesn't play a lot at safety, but they've used him in kind of a hybrid safety linebacker role before. He's established before. He can cover a tight end, but no one thought Gronkowski's caliber. I really believe it's going to be a giant mismatch because I just don't think there's a guy in the Lions roster who can cover him.
Kyle, how can people follow you on social and online?
Yeah, awesome. My Twitter is at KMEINKE. That's at KMEINKE. My work is on MLive.com. All kinds of Lions coverage there.
Kyle, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime, Mike. Thank you.
Want to thank everyone for downloading today's podcast. Want to thank our terrific guest, Kyle Meinke, covering the Lions for MLive.com, and our sponsors, Calm Balm, BetDSI, Mack Weldon, Game Time, and RX Bar. For producer Mike Alongi, our executive producer Larry H. Russell, and the founder of the network, Nick Gelso, this is Mike Patricia, and this has been the Patriots Beat podcast, powered by CLNS Media.